Welcome to the locker room. I'm Nancy. For some reason, I can't pull this up on my phone. I don't know why. Um, see if I can get it now. All right, there we go. There we go. All right. Let's get our incense going. Oh, there we go. Hello, hello. Let's get our incense going. All right. Get a little sage going in here and get it nice and zen. I'm being silly. Okay, well, it's 4:04. We're running late because we had weather today. I mean, strong storms. They were waking us up with the thunder blowing at 5:45 this morning. So I took CJ to school, and we thought the weather said it was supposed to rain like that all day long. So he didn't take us back to school. So I had to go pick him up from school and bring him home and then get his supper. So I couldn't be here at 3:00 because he gets out of school at 3:00, and I was at the school at 3:00. So, okie dokie. So we're going to go into Ryan Wesley Roth. He attempted or wanted to attempt another assassination on President Mr. Trump. and Secret Service interjected. And we'll get into it. So, pardon for the yawning. I don't know why it happens every time I come in here. Okay, we're going to start with Wikipedia. The links are in my description. Now, I'm not going to read this whole thing because, see, it's like way long. We'd be here till next week. Because y'all know me, I'm not very good at reading out loud. Okay, Brian Wesley Roth, born February 18th, 1966. Oh my goodness. He's only 10 months older than I am. It's pretty bad when you are as old as old people look. Okay. He's an American man who allegedly attempted to assassinate then former U.S. President Donald Trump during his 2024 presidential campaign. Routh's motives are currently under investigation. On September 15, 2024, a Secret Service agent shot at least 4 rounds at Routh, who was hiding in the SKS style with an SKS style rifle in shrubbery at Trump's International Golf Club, West Palm Beach. He was allegedly pointing his weapon through the fence line of the golf course, 300 to 500 yards, 250 to 450 meters away from Trump, who was moving between holes 5 and 6 alongside Republican mega donor and real estate investor Steve Witkoff. Routh fled the scene, but was later arrested as the prime suspect. An update given by the Federal Bureau of Investigation September 16th mentioned that Routh had not fired his weapon. Routh has pled not guilty to 5 federal charges, including attempting to assassinate a presidential candidate. His trial began on September 8, 2025. Routh could be sentenced to life in prison if convicted. Okay, so this goes to tell about he attended North Carolina, who his mom and dad was when he was born. He filed for divorce against his wife in January 23, and April 2nd, he fought and chased a suspect rapist around an office building. The suspected racist was also wanted for a string of burglaries, assaults, robberies in both Greensboro and out of state in New York. Terrence Bryant of Greensboro, then 28, born October 62, was taken into custody later that evening and was sentenced to the following years of life in prison. Sentenced the following year to life in prison. May of 92, for confronting the suspect, Roth was honored with a super citizen and awarded a law enforcement Oscar. A few months later, he chased the Greensboro chapter of the International Union Police. A few months after the chase by Greensboro chapter of the International Union of Police Association. On December 15, 2022, Roth was convicted of possessing a firearm, resisting, delaying, and obstructing a law enforcement officer, and driving with license revoked after a 3-hour standoff with police. He was pulled over while driving, and during the traffic stop, he put his hand on his weapon and then drove to a nearby roofing business where he barricaded himself inside. In 2003, he was sentenced for driving without a license, carrying a concealed weapon, hit and run. On February 10th, 2010, he was convicted of possessing stolen goods. For each of these charges, he was given probation. So this guy's been a bit of trouble from day one. And he does something good, then he does something bad. Then he does something good, then he does something bad. Okay, talking about wanting to fight um, and recruit foreign soldiers for Ukraine and its war against Russia, according to Newsweek. I can't say that big old name, so there we go. And, he's a former volunteer for Ukraine's International Legion. Evelyn Aschenbrenner branded Roth as a delusional and a liar over his claim that he recruited for the Ukrainian organization, saying Roth was not and never has been associated with the International Legion for the Ukrainian Armed Forces at all. Aschenbrenner said of Roth, he was combative, he was argumentative, he refused and repeatedly to understand basic Army policy, further adding there was delusions of grandeur and he was very disconnected from reality. The International Legion for the Defense of Ukraine said in a statement that Ralph had never been part of the association with or linked to it in any capacity. So he lied about who he was all the way. And the incident was at 1:59 on September 15, 2024. Ralph allegedly took a position at Trump's golf course where he was later spotted by an agent. Okay. I don't know how he could do this and then later do this when this is earlier than this. I bet they got this backwards, okay? So between 1 and 2, oh, this is AM. Okay. At 1:59 AM on September 15th, Roth allegedly took a position at Trump's golf course. He was later spotted by an agent at 1:31 p.m. The agent fired at Ralph, who dropped his weapon and fled in a nearby vehicle. After the shot was fired, Trump was escorted off of the course by his Secret Service protective detail. At 2:22 p.m., Ralph was arrested on Interstate 95 in Martin County as the potential suspect and later charged with 2 offenses: possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with the serial number removed. On the day of his arraignment, he was seen smiling and laughing with his lawyer. Footage of his arrest was also released to the public. Ralph was charged on September 24th with attempted assassination of a presidential candidate, as well as assaulting a federal officer and possessing a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence. On December 18th, Ralph was additionally charged with attempted felony murder after it was discovered that Ralph caused traffic closures while fleeing the scene, which resulted in a traffic crash that injured a 6-year-old girl who was traveling with her family. On September 23rd, the Department of Justice publicized a note written by Ralph several months prior to his arrest in which he described an assassination attempt and offered a bounty for the killing of Mr. Donald Trump. In the letter, Roth reportedly stated this was an assassination attempt on Mr. Donald Trump, but I failed you, and went on to offer $150,000 to whomever can complete the job. Authorities believe that this letter may have been an indication of Roth's foreshadowing of his later actions, as well as his acknowledgement of failure in carrying out the alleged plot. On the same day, FBI agents found documents that contained a handwritten list of venues where Trump had appeared or was expected to be present, dated in August through October. They also found out that two of the cell phones found in the Nissan Xterra that Roth drove the day of the assassination attempt showed that on multiple days and times from August 18th to September 15th, Roth stalked Trump near his golf course and his Mar-a-Lago residence. Roth pled not guilty on September 30th. A preliminary trial date was set by Judge Eileen Cannon on November 18th. As part of investigation following the assassination attempt, authorities searched the Greenboro home of Ryan Roth's son, Orrin Alexander Roth. They reportedly discovered childography and on Orrin's electronic devices. Orrin pled guilty to one count of possessing childography involving a minor who had not yet reached 12 years of age. He then had an outburst in court claiming his arrest on the charges were motivated by political persecution. On July 25, 2025, the judge subsequently sentenced Orrin to 7 years in prison with 5 years of suspended probation. On October 17th, Roth's lawyer asked Cannon to rescue herself to avoid the appearance of bias of Trump due to Cannon dismissing the federal prosecution of Trump regarding his possession of classified documents 2 months prior. However, Cannon refused to step down. As a result, Roth's trial date was moved to February 10, 2025. On November 4th, one day before the 2024 United States presidential election, Roth sent a letter to a local newsroom stating that if Trump wins the election, it will mark the end of democracy. Hello, H. Davis. What was crazy? Are you talking about the assassination attempt on our Mr. President? I'm glad to see you. I missed you yesterday when I came in. So, okay. Roth sent a letter to local newsrooms stating that if Trump wins the election, it will mark the end of democracy and the beginning of a civil war, and that Trump will not let go of the power given to him. He also begged the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office to help lead the country the way to democracy. Prosecutors noted that Roth's handwriting of the letter matched the same handwriting of the alleged note written months prior discussing his failure to assassinate Trump, which confirmed Roth wrote the note. My son's graduating this in 26, in May of 26. So we've already had to order his cap and gown and his school, the tassel thingy and the thing that zips up his gown, and the shirts that he has to have, his senior 26 shirts and all of this stuff. So that was a $229 order. And then I messaged Amanda Panda. I said, do you have to buy all this stuff for Kaylin? Because she has a child that's graduating a week before or a week after CJ. I don't know which way it goes. And she says, I don't know. You graduate in April, he graduates in May. So I'm proud of you. Are you graduating college, H. Davis? Okay. On November 26th, Roth addressed a note to the newsroom Politico. In the note, he would criticize both the Republican Party and the Democratic Party, claiming that they conspire against independent candidates. Ralph would also compare himself to Thomas Matthew Crooks, the perpetrator of Trump's previous assassination attempt in Pennsylvania, claiming, oh, well, congratulations. That is amazing. You're doing so well. Claiming they were both ready to die for freedom and democracy. At multiple points, he contemplated the prospect of another civil war. Prior to sending the note, Ralph told a prison guard who believed Ralph was a Democrat that the independent politicians are the better candidates. He did not explicitly confess to attempting to assassinate Trump, referring himself as the Trump alleged shooter. After appearing in federal court for a hearing on December 11th, Ralph's legal team announced they were considering giving Ralph an insanity defense. Public defenders claim Ralph had met with mental health experts and jailed mental health professionals at least twice, who all called him delusional. Prosecutors also confirmed that Ralph had written up to 40 letters to national news outlets to try to convince them he was innocent. The letters were interjected. We have a tornado warning just now issued, okay? The letters were interjected before being received. Ralph's attorneys requested for the trial to be delayed until December 2025. Cannon granted the request in part, setting a new trial date of September 8, 2025. On December 13, 2024, Ralph wrote a two-page letter offering to be a hostage in the Gaza war, stating that he was willing to surrender in Gaza to restart his peace conversation. Ralph would also compare himself to the character George Bailey from the 1946 film It's a Wonderful Life, stating that he and Bailey were both hoping for any support and value in honor, dignity, altruism, and sacrifice left in the world. Roth also expressed positive feelings toward the pro-Palestinian university students. Roth would also criticize Trump in the letter, stating he had no moral compass. The letter was confirmed to be written by Ralph through his name, prison ID number, and return address at the prison. Ralph's daughter, Sarah, wrote her signature in the letter. On February 20th, 2025, Ralph's defense team inspected the Trump golf course during a visit arranged by the Justice Department. After the visit, they inspected evidence from the case, such as the rifle, which the Justice Department had transported to an FBI field office in Florida. Following a court filing on March 3rd, defense attorney Christy Militello requested for the rifle to be tested. Upon being questioned by Judge Cannon, Militello responded with, "The rifle is old and we want our expert to determine if it's operable, if it's accurate, and what kind of distance it can reach." Investigators did not conduct any testing of the rifle the day of the assassination attempt because no shots were fired at the scene. Judge Cannon then promised a ruling on testing the weapon. On April 7, 2025, Ralph filed an amended motion to dismiss two of the charges against him, which was possession of a firearm by a felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. In the filing, Ralph argued that the gun violations are unconstitutional and a violation of the Second Amendment because the amendment does not regulate the ownership of guns by felons or serial numbers. The motion was rejected by the court 2 days later on April 9th. On the same day, the eyewitness who saw Ralph enter his car the day of the assassination attempt, who goes under an alias TCM in court, was interviewed by law enforcement. On July 24th, Cannon ruled that Ralph could represent himself at trial as long as court-appointed attorneys remained on standby. Ralph submitted 3 filings to the court, all of which were filed with sentiments and riddled with typos. The trial. Ralph's trial began on September 8th, 2025, and his jury was selected the following day. On September 15th, the FBI analyzed the fingerprints found on the SKS semi-automatic 7.62 by 39 caliber rifle that Ralph had left behind at the scene of the assassination attempt. And confirmed that it matched his DNA. On the same day, prosecutors publicly revealed more items they found inside Ralph's vehicle, which included cartridge casings and notes about flights to Mexico and Colombia. They described the vehicle as unorganized and that there was a chance Ralph had lived in it for a while. On September 20th, Ralph filed a motion to the court to drop all the charges against him, claiming that since the gun was never fired, prosecutors have yet to prove an assassination attempt on Mr. Trump took place. He also argued that the area outside Trump International Golf Course is a public right-of-way, giving anyone the right to be there with a weapon. By the same day, 38 people have testified as witnesses, including the Secret Service agent who spotted Ralph at the golf course. He had alleged accomplices, and it says on April 7th, 25, an indictment by federal prosecutors revealed that Ralph planned the assassination attempt as early as February 24. On February 29th, Ralph allegedly began an extensive conversation on WhatsApp with someone saved in his phone as Ramiro, who lived in Mexico. Ralph and Ramiro discussed potentially smuggling an Afghanistani migrant family into the United States from Mexico and the potential need to bribe officials who questioned them. On March 28th, Ralph left North Carolina by car to an area in West Palm Beach, where he remained between March 29th and April 5th to conduct reconnaissance. I'm sorry, that was a long word. On Trump's whereabouts before driving back to North Carolina. Prosecutors believe that Ralph had dropped off the box containing the Dear World letter during this trip. The same indictment revealed that in August 2024, Ralph sought to obtain military weapons, including a rocket launcher, from someone believed to be a Ukrainian with access to military weapons as part of his assassination plot. Ralph told his associate through WhatsApp to send him a rocket-propelled grenade or a stinger, stating, I need equipment so that Mr. Trump cannot get elected. Ralph also sought to purchase a 50 caliber rifle the same month, and this rifle would have been an even more destructive and powerful version of the one he had already obtained. Ralph hoped to purchase the 50 caliber rifle at a unshow, but was unable to due to time restraints. Prosecutors say that Ralph also discussed the idea of using a rocket launcher to shoot down Mr. Trump's plane. Now, I have done security at these unshows before, and I don't know about the state they were in, Florida, North Carolina, Pennsylvania. I don't know about their laws, but down in Arkansas, where I was an armed guard, we had to check to make sure people weren't convicted felons. So, and we actually had a list of convicted felons in our area. So, if your name, if your ID name listed on your ID, comes up on our list as a convicted felon, then you cannot enter the show. Even if you say, well, I'm not going to purchase I'm going to purchase a Kniffy, they'll say no because you'll be around and you're not allowed to be around the firearms. So that's the way it is in Arkansas. Okay. 2 weeks before the assassination attempt, Ralph searched online questions about procuring scopes for sniper rifles. A few days before the assassination attempt, Ralph allegedly contacted Ramiro for the first time since February 29th, telling me that he would run away to Mexico City in the days immediately after the attempt, with Ramiro responding that he would see Ralph then and that he was located 4 hours outside of Mexico City. Roth allegedly replied that he would call Ramiro once he knew for sure whether he'd meet him, which is something Ralph planned through extensive web searches about travel to Mexico. As a result of the indictment, U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Florida Attorney General James Youthmeyer decided to officially charge Ralph for attempted first-degree red rum and terrorism. Okay? So, and these are the political views about it. So, and now I've always thought, did that say that they use Snapchat? See, I don't use Snapchat. WhatsApp. Okay, I'm sorry. WhatsApp. I don't know anything about chatting on WhatsApp, but Snapchat, they disappear. And I don't know how to keep a record of what happens on Snapchat. So next we're going to go to Grok. I'm going to try not to reread what I've already read because a lot of this is going to be repeat. So I thank y'all for being here. A minute ago it showed I had 4 people in chat. Now it's showing I got 3 thumbs up and 1 in chat. So thank y'all for being here. Overview of the indictment. On September 15th, 2024, Ryan Wesley Ralph, a 58-year-old at the time, initiated in February 2024, I don't think so. Am I 58 or 59? I have to do this on the calculator because I can't figure it out. My calculator. 2025 divided, or not divided, sorry, back up. Minus 1966. I'm 59. I thought I was 58. Yeah, I'm older than I thought I was. Okay. No, I am 58. Because I'll be 59 in December. Okay, so I am 58. Okay, there we go. Now that I know how old I am, again, I'll forget next week. Okay, he was 58 in 2024 because his birthday's in February, and I turned 58 in 2024. There we go. Okay. Itinerant building contractor from North Carolina who had recently lived in Hawaii was arrested after allegedly attempting to assassinate then presidential candidate Mr. Donald Trump at Mr. Trump's international golf course in West Palm Beach, Florida. This was the second known assassination attempt on Mr. Trump in 2024, followed by the July 13th incident in Butler, Pennsylvania. Roth positioned himself in the bushes along the perimeter fence near the sixth hole, armed with a semi-automatic SKS-style rifle equipped with a scope and modified for greater lethality. A U.S. Secret Service agent spotted the rifle barrel protruding through the fence line while scouting ahead of Trump's group, fired at Ralph, missing him, and Ralph fled the scene without discharging his weapon. A bystander witness, Tommy McGee, pursued Ralph's vehicle and noted the license plate, leading it to a rapid apprehension on a nearby highway. The attempt was thwarted due to the agent's vigilance and the bystander's quick action. Prosecutors stated that without these interventions, Mr. Trump would not be alive. Ralph's cell phone data placed him near the golf course at Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence this morning, and he had been living out of his car at a nearby truck stop for weeks while conducting surveillance. Okay, and this is the background. We already read all that. So, evidence presented. Prosecutors built a case around Ralph's premeditation presenting. Category, key details, weapons and items. SKS rifle, 7.26 millimeter scope, obliterated serial number, body armor, ladder, GoPro camera, 12 burner phones, explosive devices, pipes and cartridges found in a box he left with a witness. DNA evidence strongly linked Ralph to the rifle and magazines. Communications and planning. Text to family fiance saying, "I love you," shortly before the attempt. Encrypted messages tracking Mr. Trump's plane. John Smith alias searches for Mr. Trump's schedule and weather. Up to 40 intercepted letters to media claiming innocence. Confession letter, handwritten 12-page note titled "Dear World," left in the box. "This was an assassination attempt on Mr. Donald Trump, but I'm sorry I failed you. I tried my best. It is up to you now to finish the job, and I will offer $150,000 to whoever can complete the job. Surveillance. Lived in a gas station van for a month pre-incident. Searched golf course layouts. Used aliases like John White for phone purchases. No shots were fired by Ralph, and the refuelee was not tested immediately. But forensic analysis confirmed functionality. Eyewitness Roberto Forcano, Secret Service, testified he approached within 5 feet of Ralph, who smiled before fleeing. Charges and legal proceedings. Ralph was indicted in September 2024 in Miami federal court on 5 counts: one attempted assassination of a major presidential candidate, life sentence possible; possession of a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence; assault on a federal officer, Secret Service agent; felon in possession of a firearm and ammunition; possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Additional indictments followed: attempted felony murder, December 18, 2024; first-degree red rum terrorism, April 7, 2025. He pled not guilty on September 30, 2024, and has remained in custody since his arrest, denied bail multiple times. The trial presided over by U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon, who dismissed a prior Trump case, began September 8, 2025 in Fort Pierce, Florida, after delays from Ralph's motions to dismiss, claiming public right-of-way access and no proof since the UN was not fired. Ralph fired his public defenders in July 25 to represent himself, leading to chaotic proceedings. His proposed witness list included bizarre entries like Tony Hawk skateboarder and Taiwanese officials, which were rejected. Prosecution case September 8th through 19th, 2025. 38 witnesses over 7 days, including Secret Service agents, FBI forensic experts, and Ralph's acquaintances. Evidence include dash cam footage, phone records, and the letter. The defense case, September 22nd, 2025. Ralph called only 3 witnesses: character reference and a firearms expert. In a few hours arguing incompetence, I am a coward, and abandonment of intent. His opening statement rambled about Hitler, evolution, Putin, and U.S. history, cut off by Cannon for irrelevance. Cross-examinations were erratic. He praised witnesses and veered into tangents. Ralph rested his defense on September 22nd, 2025. Closing arguments occurred on September 23rd, today, with jury deliberations expected soon. He faces life in prison if convicted on the top charge. And today is the 23rd. As of September 23rd, 2025, the trial has had drawn limited mainstream media attention compared to the July 24 attempt, with some outlets calling it forgotten. Ralph's daughter publicly called the trial rigged on September 22nd. On X, discussions highlighted his erratic filings, including a September 2nd motion challenging Mr. Trump to a beatdown session or golf match. He wins, he can execute me. I win, I get his job. Posts from users like ALX and Mario Knopfel amplified these garnering thousands of engagements. Conspiracy theorists circulated about CIA ties or a $162,000 deposit to his daughter's account preempted, but no evidence supports them. The case undergoes heightened political violence risks with no ties to organized groups. Trump has not publicly commented extensively during the trial. Okay. Okay, so he's been going to trial, and I'm sorry, I have to admit, until I saw it on Jennifer Coffindaffer's post this morning on X, I had no idea this was going on. I really didn't. Okay, now we're going to go to X because there's several different posts that are on X that I wanted to show you. Okay. These are, I typed in Ryan Roth on X. And this says Project Constitution, bombshell, a $162K wire transfer to Trump shooter Ryan Roth's daughter just before his arrest. Media silent. Exposed, Ryan Roth's daughter got $162,000 before his arrest. Why is no one talking about this? While the media has everyone distracted with Jimmy Kimmel's drama, something massive is happening in the shadows. The alleged Trump assassination, Ryan Roth's daughter just got a $162,000 wire transfer right before her dad was caught. That money immediately started moving between other accounts, and yet the media acts like it doesn't exist. This is how the game is played. They feed your manufactured outrage, endless headlines, and celebrity distractions to keep you busy. And while the real stories get buried, they want you mad at each other. They want you glued to clown shows, and they want you blind to the truth. But here's reality. Ralph is on trial right now. Evidence is being presented, and jurors were shown his wire transfers. This isn't a meme or conspiracy. It's in the record. Meanwhile, the media would rather talk about the late night talk show host than the fact that someone allegedly tried to assassinate a former president and his family got a six-figure payout right before it happened. Don't fall into the sleight of hand. Don't fall for the distractions. Every time they shove nonsense into your face, ask yourself, what are they trying to hide? This is one of those times. Shout out to the OP Black Scout. Go follow him. I'll link the full video below in the comments. Must watch. All right?
Her father, Ryan Roth, is a loving father who spent his...
Let's watch this. Let's scoot back. All right. Let's see what he has to say.
Jimmy Kimmel Live's coming back on tonight. Back on the air. That's it. Curtain down. Show's over. They love keeping us divided. They love keeping us worked up. Oh, man, they're coming after free speech. They're doing that, this, and that. You got to get tired of that, right? It's theatrics. Manufactured outrage to feed the outrage machine. Now, Trump did go on a rampage talking about cutting out certain news and this and that. And he did address the Smith-Monk Act, okay? That's Obama. He kept it in play where basically the media, the government can lie to you. And you're talking about, you know, Project Mockingbird where they're gaslighting the public to believe various things, okay? That's not something you should be doing. You should not be alarming American people with nonsense. And this is where the Smith-Monk Act comes in. Now, again, everybody fell for it, including me. Conservatives claim to win. I thought we got to win. We got Jimmy Kimmel off. I've been dying for that guy to get kicked off the air. He spends all night, every night, just crying, whining, right? But then the leftists, they scream depression.
Okay. I can mark myself as free from having ever been subjected to a single Jimmy Kimmel Live show. Okay? I never watched him. So I don't know why everybody wants him gone.
They weren't saying that whenever PayPal canceled you because of what you posted or sold online. Bank of America didn't freeze his accounts, they froze yours. The FBI didn't raid his studio, they raided yours. Or I mean, I guess if you're a podcast or whatever. No angry mob burned him out of his house. None of that. His bosses thought, look, man, the joke was ill-timed. They hit pause, headlines detonated. Now, surprise, he's back like nothing happened. The thing is, they made the outrage so both sides would dance exactly where the stage managers wanted them to. Okay, classic sleight of hand. It pushed it propulsion into the news stream. Everyone was talking about it. I've seen, dude, every conservative influencer posting it. But you got to look at a pattern check, what I call a pattern check. Ask yourself this: while you were glued to the Jimmy Kimmel soap opera, what may have you missed? Because every time they shove a clown into the spotlight, it means something more important is happening in the dark. I learned about this from this one newscaster that used to be on Fox News. Okay. Anyway, she said that most legislation happens on Friday night. They slip it in when everybody's out on the weekend looking at sports ball and so on, and then they slip these things in. And then so you come in Monday morning, there's a new news cycle, who won the big sports ball game, and so on. You don't listen to it, you don't pay attention to it, so it's part of the programming. They don't do this stuff by accident, guys. They've been playing this for a very long time. So you have to ask yourself, what are they slipping through? Now, what they slipping through is the Ryan Ruth trial, the one you didn't see trending. Ryan Ruth, the man accused of trying to assassinate Trump on the golf course, his federal trial is happening right now. Courtrooms packed, evidence rolling in, jurors were shown. Listen to this. You know, they've talked about foreign intelligence, you know, this and that. But one big thing that nobody's talking about because of the Jimmy Kimmel outrage and so on is that back in March 2024, just a little bit prior to him trying to get at Trump on the golf course, $162,000 landed in his daughter's bank account. Say what? Yes. $162,000. Same day, money starts moving between other accounts. It's not a meme. It's not a TikTok clip. That is evidence. So tell me, man. And then Thomas Crooks, dude, we don't know anything about the guy. I know everything about Tyler Robinson.
I wish somebody put $162,000 in my bank account. Boy, I could handle that. Yes, I could.
Okay. I know nothing about Thomas Crooks to this.
But I don't want it illegal. I want it all on the up and up. I don't want to get in trouble for having it.
Day. A ghost, a phantom. He had 7 cell phones on him. Ryan Roth had 12, I think. And
now, I carry 2 cell phones, okay? This is my Apple phone. It's the only one I can FaceTime talk to my husband on, okay? The only people that ever call me on this phone is my husband and my daughter, okay? This is my Android phone. I'm currently using it because you can see where am I at? Right here. I am actually watching my program right now. So, on my Apple phone. So I can keep track of how many people are actually in chat. I've got 3 thumbs up, but I'm showing one person on my StreamYard. Oh, I got my foot stuck. I'm sorry. On my StreamYard as being in the chat. So I don't know how many people are here, but I thank you all for being here. So, I mean, so, and it's overwhelming for me to have two phones at times, especially when the spam calls start coming in, and I'm getting them from this side and this side and this side. I'm good about swiping up, swipe up, or just ignore the ring. So, and I did have my Apple phone. I was paying for music um, for whoever called me. Everybody got their own special ringtone, but my husband or my daughter, either one, used to like to call me during my lives, and they wouldn't realize I was going live, and I would get copyright strikes. So therefore, I don't remember what the sound is if my daughter calls, but if my husband calls, it's a duck going like that. And my husband happened to hear it. He bought new headphones when he was home the last time, and they work as sound amplifiers, like a hearing aid type thing. Like if he wants to watch television, he can put the headphones in, and he doesn't have to turn the TV up real loud. It just amplifies it, but he can't hear other sounds, like my neighbor starting her Corvette that she has to rev up so loud that it breaks the windows. And that thing it's worse than sounding like a Harley. It sounds horrible when she starts it up. But anyway, she's a good person. She can have her car. She's young. That's the way young people are. So, I forgot what I was going to say. But he couldn't hear her car, barely hear her car, but he could hear the TV. So it worked out, and except when he comes home now, he don't put his headphones in. I'm like, put your earphones in so you can watch TV, because and he doesn't have to Bluetooth them to the TV. I don't understand that, but of course that TV in our living, the one down in the basement, I think you can Bluetooth it, but the one upstairs you can't Bluetooth it. So I guess our internet's Bluetooth to it, because we don't have a cable running to the TV. I don't believe. I don't even know anymore. I don't even know, because we got new fiber optic internet. So, okay, let's get back to the story.
We know nothing about Thomas Crooks. He had offshore accounts. Now we got Ryan Roth getting $162,000 thrown in his account. Strange. And meanwhile, we have his daughter going on camera saying, hey, man, Dad's a kind-hearted man. He would never hurt anyone. Trying to tug on the heartstrings, sympathy clips, spreading. Social media eats up that stuff because sympathy drives clicks. Sympathy doesn't erase those wire transfers, ma'am. Sympathy doesn't erase those Venmo records. Sympathy doesn't erase the timestamps, okay? Right? This is where you had the divide, man. Courts deal in receipts. Social feeds deal in feelings. It's facts over feelings. Let me play the clip for you.
Despite the fact that he is on trial for allegedly attempting to shoot and kill Donald Trump last year, Sarah Ruth tells me that her father, Ryan Ruth, is a kind and gentle man who has never hurt anyone and who believes in the simple things in life.
I just wanted the world to know who my dad is for who he is and not for what the media has painted him out to be.
Sarah Ruth says her father, Ryan Ruth, is a loving father who spends his life helping others and doing good for the community.
I mean, like, he's never wronged anybody. He's always been...
Had never wronged anybody, but he tried to assassinate the president. Kind-hearted.
Devoted to helping other people, and he doesn't understand why there's not more support out there.
Well, I mean...
I understand. I understand clearly.
He is on trial for allegedly attempting to assassinate a presidential candidate, which most people would say is not a good, kind, or gentle thing.
Yeah, no comment on that.
Yeah, no comment, of course.
Sarah did not want to say anything about
How much money does she get to say this from a foreign intelligence agency?
her dad's defense strategy or the state's case that Ruth allegedly planned to kill Donald Trump and set in a sniper's nest with a semi-automatic rifle before being spotted by a Secret Service agent. She does say she supports him 100%. She's been in court every day and calls him every night in jail, where he prepares for another day of representing himself, which Sarah says is not going well. She calls it bullying.
They shut down every time he tries to say anything. And maybe he's not saying it right, but he's trying to say he's trying to get his point across, but he can't get that far. He gets shut down before he even gets to, explain it. So it's really frustrating for us to watch.
Sarah's brother, Orrin Ruth, is slated to testify in his father's behalf. Sarah says she's just trying to be there for her dad.
What do you hope to come out of this trial? You can look right here.
Yeah.
Obviously, I hope my dad comes home. But we'll see.
The prosecution saying today they plan to rest their case by Thursday of next week.
The thing is, I want to tell you this. People, nobody's talking about this. This man tried to take out Donald Trump as well right after Thomas Crooks, who's a ghost, a phantom operative. But then Ryan Routh, right after, tries to do the same thing. Why are you not hearing about this? Right? You're not hearing about the court transcripts. You're not hearing about anything. You're just seeing this lady paint a picture that he's some awesome dad. But the thing is why is it that she is speaking so highly of him? She had $160,000 moved in, wire transfers everywhere.
Okay, that's the end of the video. Okay, so I don't know what the rest of the video was. It cut off right there. So we'll go on to Ryan Routh's friend who testified at trial. Routh did what he thought was right. I cannot believe that. I'm going to say this right here. Wait, I'll say it. I'll say it in a minute. I'll say it in a minute. You're going to hear it. Just wait. Routh's friend who testified at trial, Routh did what he thought was right. When Marshall Henshaw was reading the news last year and saw his longtime friend's name in a story about attempted assassination of Mr. Donald Trump, he said he was shocked, but not totally surprised. I did not think that he was trying to be mean or evil or violent or anything like that. I think he was just doing what he thought was right.
A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit.
Yeah. That's what I say. Just doing what he thought was right. Yeah. Okay. Routh, who is representing himself in his trial on charges of trying to assassinate Mr. Trump on Trump's West Palm Beach golf course last year, called Henshaw to testify as character witness on Monday. Closing arguments set in the trial of Ryan Routh, accused of trying to unalive Mr. Trump on the golf course. Henshaw, who was called to testify as a character witness, described Routh to ABC News as a spirited and reliable friend whose personal convictions might have led him into trouble. Does this mean anything? Does this seem anything like anything he would ever do? He was asked. The violent part, no. But standing up for something that he believes in, maybe, yeah, Henshaw said. If he believes strongly enough about something, I think that he would sacrifice in a personal way. Henshaw testified at trial that he never saw Routh behave violently or recklessly. Part of Routh's defense strategy of highlighting his self-described gentle nature, Routh helped Henshaw find work, supported him and his girlfriend when they had a child, and was a reliable co-worker for years, Henshaw testified. Prosecutors allege that Roth put together a methodical plan, including purchasing military-grade weapons, researching Mr. Trump's movements, and utilizing a dozen burner phones to unalive Mr. Trump based on political grievances. Hiding in the bushes, of Trump's Palm Springs golf course and armed with a refuelie, Roth allegedly came within a few hundred yards of the then presidential nominee before a Secret Service agent spotted his refuelie poking out of the tree line. Roth allegedly fled the scene but was later arrested by a local sheriff's office on a nearby interstate. Roth, who denies he was attempting to assassinate Mr. Trump, faces up to life in prison if convicted. Speaking after the trial day on Monday night, Henshaw expressed concern about his friend's fate, but suggested there might be a method to the madness of Roth's unorthodox defense strategy. I think he already accepts anything that's going to happen to him, Henshaw said. Had Roth accepted a plea deal, the 59-year-old would have likely spent the rest of his life in prison. Henshaw said going to trial gives Roth a shot at an acquittal or a mistrial. So that's what he's looking for, is a mistrial. Okay. Ryan Roth, accused of attempting to kill Mr. Trump on a golf course, rests his defense following chaotic testimony. If he accepts the plea, he accepts life in prison, which is the max he could get anyway. So he's not losing. He has nothing to lose by taking the jury and rejecting the plea, Henshaw said. With the country's fractured political environment, Henshaw suggests that Roth might be able to sway one or two jurors, thus forcing a mistrial. When all of your choices are bad, you're going to make a bad choice, right? You just try to make the choice that's the least bad, Henshaw said. Okay. So he knew what he was doing was bad, but anything that he tried to do or wanted to do in the situation would have been bad. So he just did the lesser of the two evils. No. Two wrongs don't make a right. And taking the lesser road does not make it any more right than taking the right thing for him to do would have been just to go home, go to bed, go to sleep, and forget about Mr. Trump. Okay. Ryan Roth gives closing arguments in Trump golf course assassination attempted trial. Roth is accused of attempting to pew down Mr. Donald Trump on his Florida golf course a year ago. There's no story. Okay. Fort Pierce, Florida. The man accused of attempting to gun down Mr. Donald Trump on a Florida golf course last year is expected to make his final argument Tuesday after a 2-week trial in which he served as his own attorney and was frequently scolded by the judge. Ryan Roth, a 59-year-old Hawaii resident and former Trump supporter, is charged with attempting to assassinate a major presidential candidate and assaulting a federal officer, plus several firearm violations. Roth had pleaded not guilty and faces a sentence of life in prison if convicted of the most serious charge. The government delivered its closing argument first, with prosecutor Christopher Brown telling the court that the suspect had planned to unalive Mr. Trump for a long, long time. It is not very It is not every case where the defendant writes his intent down on a piece of paper, Brown said during his closing statement. Brown was referring to a note Ralph had wrote before he was arrested on September 15th. It was addressed to the world and stated plainly, "This is an assassination attempt on Mr. Donald Trump. This is not a whodunit," Brown told jury. Starting with the pretrial hearing and throughout the trial in federal court here, Ralph was admonished repeatedly by U.S. District Judge Eileen Cannon for disrupting the proceedings and asking witnesses questions that the judge deemed outside the scope of the case or irrelevant. On Tuesday, Ralph asked his own ballistics expert, Michael McClay, "Does it take a special kind of person to be able to take another person's life?" Cannon called for a break before McCoy could answer and later told Ralph the question was far outside the bounds. Ralph called two character witnesses on the stand who testified that he was not violent and was a jolly person. After that, Ralph announced, "I will not testify." When Cannon asked the accused man if he had enough time to think his momentous decisions through, Ralph answered, "A year." Ralph was arrested after a Secret Service agent spotted him hiding in the shrubbery near the fifth hole of the Trump International Golf Course in West Palm Beach, and according to prosecutors, waited for Mr. Trump to get into his line of fire. Ralph, who is not a lawyer, asked Cannon at the hearing in July for permission to represent himself after clashing with his court-appointed attorneys, saying they were a million miles apart. Cannon reluctantly agreed, calling it a bad idea, but ordered the public defender to stay in the courtroom and stand by and ordered Ralph not to approach the witness. Federal prosecutors called 38 witnesses over a span of 7 days who placed Ralph at the scene and testified that the subject could have unalived Mr. Trump had he not been caught. Ralph called 3 witnesses and was done presenting his case before lunchtime. The closing arguments came 2 days after Mr. Trump spoke at a memorial service for the popular but polarizing conservative activist Charlie Clark, whose murder on a Utah college campus earlier this month has ratcheted up anxieties about political violence in the United States. Cannon was appointed to the bench by Mr. Trump and is the same judge who dismissed the charges against the president after he was accused of mishandling classified documents at his home at Mar-a-Lago. So that is what is said there on ABC News. The link is in the description if you want more information about that. I was surprised. I thought it was going to state what his closing argument was. Okay, maybe this one will. How much should you walk to lose 30 pounds? Oh, that's an advertisement. Let's go down here. Closing arguments, jury deliberations next in trial of accused Mr. Trump gunman Ryan Ralph by Hannah Phillips, Palm Beach Post. Okay, here is a video. All right, I'm going to have to break in for fair use things, but we'll see what's going on here.
Ryan Ruth, the man accused of attempting to assassinate President Donald Trump, is representing himself at trial. That started on September 11th. He faces life in prison. Ruth has filed unusual motions, asking for a putting green, strippers, and even subpoenaed Trump as a witness. During jury selection, he asked jurors questions ranging from whether they'll help a turtle cross the road to their views on the Israel-Hamas conflict. Every exchange drew objections from the prosecutor.
Now, those are questions that actually have nothing to do with the assassination, unless his claim for wanting to assassinate was because he didn't like the way Mr. Trump handled the things overseas, or is handling things overseas. I don't understand that.
Prosecutors. A black therapist identified Ruth fleeing the scene, recalling his car make and license plate. While cross-examining the witness, Ruth asked, "Are you a Trump supporter? And do you think Medea, Beyonce, Michelle Obama are going to be mad?" He ended by telling the witness, "You are an American hero. I celebrate you." Prosecutors revealed that inside Ruth's car, they found cartridges, castings, multiple cell phones, and license plates, and clothing, describing it as if someone had been living in the vehicle. Evidence showed someone tried to remove the serial number from his rifle, a World War II-era weapon manufactured in China, North Korea, and Egypt. A fingerprint examiner testified that Ruth's print matched the piece of tape found on the rifle. Investigators also uncovered a Google search, "How to travel to Palm Beach County to Mexico." Follow the Palm Beach Post for everyday updates on the trial.
Okay.
River City Painting has provided Wichita with industry-leading customer service since 2005. Your one-stop shop for exterior painting projects. We offer a 100.
Okay, that's all there is on that one. So, what do you think about this guy? I think, personally, that he should have spent the rest of his life in prison. He tried to take a candidate that could have been, that later did become our president. He tried to take him away from the whole world, ending his presidency and everything, because he thought if Mr. Trump gets into office, he'll never leave office again. But Mr. Trump doesn't have that authority to change the laws and say, "I'm here, I'm going to stay till I die." Now, he may, if the good Lord finds it time to take him. But I think now in 25, 26, and 27, I don't think there'll be any more assassination attempts on Mr. Trump, because all of the assassination attempts on presidential candidates or presidents have happened only on presidents who were elected in a year ending in 4. Ronald Reagan was 84. President Trump was 2004. Kennedy was 34 or 64, I'm sorry. So, yeah, he would have been elected in a year and ended in 4. And those are the only ones that either have been or have been attempted to assassinate. Now, I don't know what year Abe Lincoln was president. 1904 or something. I don't know. But I wasn't born back then. So anyway, I thank y'all for being here. And I hope to find out what the jury deliberations ended up being. I don't have that information at the time. So hopefully tomorrow morning it'll be on X and I can let you know about it. So, and hopefully tomorrow we'll have better weather and I won't have to be running my son down. So, alrighty then. You do something nice for someone, even if it's just be the reason that they smile, and search for crime.